a pulley driven electric car or electric racer. We're going to be using the standard DC motor that we use in primary schools, and as you probably know, the main problem with these is that they spin really fast, about 3,500 times per minute. So if we connect the motor to the driven axle directly, then the driven axle will spin round at that speed, and when you put the electric car down on the floor, it probably won't move at all. That's because the axle is not turning with enough force. So we need to reduce the speed from the motor to the driven axle, and by doing that we increase the force. There are various ways of doing that. The way we're going to use with this design is to use pulleys. We're going to put the smallest possible pulley, this is the P100 pulley, on the motor, and we're going to link it to a larger pulley which is going to be on the drive axle with a rubber band. First thing we need to do is to make the chassis, the base of the car, just clear the decks a bit. I'm going to use a piece of 4mm Corex for the strength. You could use card. And this design has got a rather clever feature where it will, when it bumps into a wall, it will automatically turn itself off. So what we're going to do, we're going to put some wood around the edges of the Corex, and I'm going to use a glue gun to do that. This is a low melt glue gun, the type that we mainly use in primary schools. Once you squeeze the trigger and get the glue out, you've got about 5 seconds to get the two things together. And the last piece. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to make the bearings for the axles to run in, and we're going to use jumbo straws for this. So we turn it over and we're going to put the jumbo straws across the base. We could glue them on. Actually, sellotape works really well with Corex. I've got some of these that I've made 10 years ago, and the sellotape is still working. Sticky tape sticks really well to Corex. And another piece there, and a fourth piece there. Try not to squash the straw when you put the sellotape on, because an axle is going to run through it, so try and loop the sticky tape around. Next I'm going to trim these straws back to leave a few millimeters sticking out. Whenever I'm using straws as bearings, I always do this, leave a little bit sticking out to stop the wheel from rubbing on the side. We're always trying to reduce the friction. Okay, next thing we're going to do is to assemble the undriven axle, the axle that's not connected to the motor. I've got some 4mm dowel here, and I could use lots of different wheels. These are wooden wheels, and I'm just going to tap them in with a hammer. It's always nice when things fit together without gluing. Doesn't matter which end you put it. Turn it over and tap the other wheel on. Tap them together. I think I can go down a bit more. Now that's too much of a gap there. What we really need is a gap between two tables. Let me see, what can I use? How about the gap between these pliers here? And that will allow me to tap the axle down.